All right, listen up, Banditos. If you're here, you already know what's up. Ultimate Freyna just dropped, and trust me, everyone wants her on their squad. But let's cut the hype, because you're not just here to gawk at this new character, right? You want to know how long it's going to take to farm her parts and how to get your hands on her fast. Now, you can spend days grinding, burning yourself out and cursing the RNG gods, or you can hang out here with me for a few minutes, and I'll give you the shortcuts and the guide to get Ultimate Freyna in less time than it takes to binge watch your favorite YouTuber. That's me, by the way. And as usual, there will be a download link below.
Tux makes it exciting!
So I tested these farms myself, grinding away so you don't have to. And guess what? I clocked it all in at 2 hours and 52 minutes. Yup, under 3 hours. And Freyna was ready to go straight into research. And I overfarmed her, so I'm going to encourage you not to do the same, because she was actually quite easy. In fact, for me, she was easier than Ultimate Balbi. So stick with me, and by the end of this video, you'll know the fastest routes, the quickest strategies, and exactly how to unlock Freyna today. We'll break down the farm into bite-sized pieces so you can do it even faster than I did, because who has the time to mess around when there's a shiny new Descendant waiting for you? Hit the like, subscribe, let's get into it. There's a quest for Freyna, but you don't have to do it in order to farm or unlock her. So we'll save that for another video. But just to show you here, all my Freyna parts are crafting. It's 18 hours for each of these parts. Yep, there's a time gate on this as usual. And then there's gonna be another 1 day and 12 hours after I have all of those parts. And I have the Ultimate Freyna code ready to do that. So it's gonna be a full 2 days of research. So that's why you wanna go ahead and get her parts as soon as possible so that you can put her in the oven and begin using her right away. And I know it kind of sucks to have to wait, but don't worry. During that time, I'll be giving you guides on how to unlock her new mods and her other new external component sets and stuff, which are looking pretty exciting, I gotta say. Okay, so this is the guide I put together for you. It's pretty straightforward, not a lot of clutter. So you should be able to do this in under 3 hours. A little bit's gonna depend on how much you've been playing before today, because there are those minor materials that are needed to craft Descendants, and some of them you might be low on, but if you've been playing regularly, then some of them you might have excessive amounts of. So everybody's gonna be a little bit different, and I'll show you what I mean when we get there. Just like every Descendant, there's really 3 major parts. So we have the enhanced cells, the stabilizer, and the spiral catalyst. And then you farm the blueprint. So 4 major farms, 3 parts. Starting with the enhanced cells, I'm not gonna go through all the options for you. I'm gonna give you the best option. And then if you're curious on seeing how else to farm the Descendant, go to your access info, go to Descendants, click on Ultimate Freyna, and then click on the blueprint for the part that you're looking for. So we're looking for enhanced cells, for example, and then you can click here and you can see all the options. But the ones I'm giving you today are what I consider easy for the casual common player, and not just easy, but the fastest. So I'm looking for both of those. The routes I chose for you are both the easiest and the fastest, and these were tested. For pattern 63AB, so the AB are the new types of patterns they introduced just for Freyna, you need to go to Sterile Land, and the zone is Repository, and then the Strategic Outpost. And notice the pattern is 63AB, which is an odd number. If it's an odd number at an outpost, then that means you're going to need Sharon, because you have to hack the terminals without being detected in order for this, or in order to get a chance for this to drop. So you can see all sorts of Sharons at this location. I recommend going there with Sharon. If you don't have one, then just make sure you do a really good job of hiding and squeezing your shot before they kill the boss. Now this one's got a pretty tanky boss. It's a 2-phase boss, so you should have plenty of time to do that. No need to rush. And so what I did as far as format here, because everybody's RNG is different, so I didn't want to lock you in on a time. So this is a 3 hours player's guide, and I feel like that's a really safe buffer, because I overfarmed Freyna, and my advice is to not do the same. I don't think you need to do as much farming as I did. I thought it was going to be harder than it was. And so what I did on the guide is put my experience in the white talking bubbles so that you can see, like, just as a gauge how long it should take. Not that there's much you could do about it. RNG is what it's going to be. At least you'll know when it's time to start banging your head against the wall. So for Sterile Land, I was shooting for 10 patterns. So I just farmed it until I got 10 patterns, and that took me 35 minutes. I recommend getting 5 patterns and then going back if you need more. So it should take you about 15 to 20 minutes. After I got all my patterns, I went to the Sterile Land Void Reactor in the same zone, so repository, it's just around the corner. And I ended up only having to shape 3 patterns, and that only took me 3 minutes, and then I got the enhanced cell blueprint. So we were done with that. But we have a vendor coming overnight tonight, so he arrives at midnight. If I want to, I'll be able to cash in these for blueprints and then trade those for vouchers. Okay, so your next step is to make sure you have all your crafting materials. So for this part, I had most of them, but I needed highly concentrated energy residue. And I bet you do also, because they're only dropping from one place, and that's encrypted boxes. And they need to be in Hagios. And I bet you're not opening a ton of those. If you are, kudos. So you need 76 of them. It's not gonna take a ton of time. Ended up taking me around 15 minutes, give or take. Most of your time is just traveling in and out of the map. So there are 2 outposts you can fast travel to. I recommend starting at the big one, head over to the right. That's where I normally found it, but sometimes it was kind of left and then center on the big giant platforms. About half the time they were there. Once you unlock that encrypted vault, then fast travel to the other smaller outpost at the top of the map and see if there's one there too. So many times there's multiple vaults on the map at the same time. Not always. If it's not there, then just fast travel back out and then fast travel back in and then rinse and repeat. Okay, here's a pro tip. If you go all the way down into the spiral catalyst, there's something called carbon crystals. And those you get in Hagios also, just from the resource boxes. So while you're waiting for vaults or running around looking for a vault, open up any resource or munition container that you come across, because you're gonna need those carbon crystals too. And you're gonna need 256 of those. If you have to come back, it's not a big deal. It took me like 5 or 6 minutes to get those. So for the enhanced cell, the other crafting materials, I think it's pretty straightforward. So you have compound coating in Echo Swamp, just open resource boxes, or you have the reverse charging coils, and that's Fortress, again, resource boxes. You probably have a lot of those if you've been playing a decent amount of time. I didn't need to farm those at all. Okay, the stabilizer. So we're gonna go for pattern 97AB. Now, if you're doing this today, well, lucky you, because this is in Caligo Ossuary, and it happens to be the brand new 400% infiltrations. They're very fun to do, but you're also getting those ETAO vouchers and tons of loot, XP, gold, and all that other fun stuff. It's super busy in there right now. Lots of bunnies running around. I do recommend using a bunny. Not always, but we're trying to get in and out as fast as possible. So here's the deal. I overfarmed this a lot. I way overshot it. I farmed this for 39 minutes to get 20 patterns, and you don't need to do that. I would aim for half of that. So 10 patterns. You're gonna get 2 patterns per run, and every now and again, you're gonna get a stabilizer compound, that's stuff that gives you a better drop. But otherwise, if you're not gonna do it on 400%, then I do recommend doing it at least at 250%. And that's so that you can ensure you're getting those 2 drops. Just make sure you're killing all the enemies along the way. So this pattern is gonna be able to be shaped with the Swamp Walker on hard. So turn it on group mode or play it solo. I went in there with a group, and I shaped 2 patterns in 6 minutes, 3 minutes per run. Yeah, it only took me 2. Of course, that's RNG, so I guess I got lucky. Maybe it takes you more, maybe it takes you less. But I wouldn't start by farming 20 patterns. I'd start by farming 10 at the most. As far as crafting materials, I didn't have to farm any myself. And you're probably gonna have a lot of hardener and a lot of nano polymer. If you don't, then go to Vespers and Agna Desert and just run around and open some resource boxes. The drops should be pretty high, so it shouldn't take you very long to get those. But polyatomic ionic particles, you may have a lot of these, especially if you were farming for Haley in the past in the Fortress. So the command relay drops these, and you use these also for energy activators. So you might have been farming that zone for those too. Either way, if you don't have these, go there. Command relay in the Fortress. There's like 3 bosses that drop those. It's also a busy spot, and it'll probably be even busier today. All right, next up is the Spiral Catalyst. Pattern 79AB is what I recommend. So this is going to be in the Vespers, the Shelter mission, and you're going to do this on hard at 250% so that you get 2 patterns per run. Again, I recommend getting a quantity of somewhere between 5 and 10. And this is going to take you into the Devourer fight, and you're going to want to do that on hard mode. I did this one solo with a Haley. You can use whoever you want. They go really fast. I was doing them in like 6 seconds or whatever. And so I learned my lesson on this one. So I only farmed 5 patterns. That took me 15 minutes. And then I only had to kill the boss 3 times. And that took a total of 5 minutes. And that's because I was cleaning up my gear at the same time. So RNG was decent, good enough. And that's why I think 5 is a good place to be when it comes to farming patterns. All right, crafting materials. Here, super fluid, you're probably going to have a lot of those, but sterile land resource boxes if you don't. Carbon crystals, I mentioned those earlier, so you would have gone to Hoggios to open up encrypted vaults while you were there. Hopefully you were getting those carbon crystals. If not, go back, open some resource boxes and munitions. Remember to use your Asive and ping to find some of those locations. And then the compound carbon activator. This was the worst part of the whole farm. And that's because these only come from one place, and that's White Knight Gulch. And there's 2 missions there. I did both of them, but it turns out the biolab on normal is the best farm. You actually get more in a single drop doing it on normal than you do on hard mode, at least from my experience. You don't have to change your build or anything for this. I did try putting on increased drop rate, but it didn't affect anything. So just run your bunny build or whatever you're gonna use. But you're not gonna complete this mission. If you haven't played on normal mode in a long time, you need to complete every wave in each checkpoint. It's not like hard mode where you can just speed run through things. You actually have to kill the enemies. If not, then you're gonna have to backtrack. And in some locations, you can't backtrack, so then you end up having to start the whole mission. Bad, bad, bad. So just make sure you kill every enemy and that you get the green indicator that's saying it's time to move to the next room before you actually move to the next room. It's a very easy mission. There's nothing hard about it, but you're gonna get to this pillar, which is around the halfway point, and there'll be a boss there. And when you kill him, he's gonna drop about 7 to 9. I think I got as low as 5 once, but I got 9 quite a few times. So that's what you're looking for. As soon as you get that, then bail and rinse and repeat. So this sucked because it took the longest out of all of the things I was doing. It took about 45 minutes to get 67 compound carbon activators. I don't think I had any. Okay, the blueprint. Now I tested a bunch on the blueprint. In the end, this is what I recommend. You're gonna go for a pattern 100AB. That's in the White Knight Gulch, shipment base, strategic outpost. So very easy, no sharing required. I used normal Freyna, and there's gonna be other people there too. Anyways, I recommend getting somewhere between 5 and 10. I stopped farming at 5. It took me 16 minutes to get 5. And then in the White Knight Gulch Observatory, which is actually in a different zone, but within the same map, there's a reactor there. And then that's who you're gonna fight to shape it. The boss is kind of tough, so don't go in there with your weakest Descendant, but it's definitely doable even solo, but still one of the harder bosses. Anyways, I shaped 2 patterns in just over 2 minutes, and that's all I needed. And I had everything I needed to do. So this is one that I tested a lot on, and I was having a bad experience with the blueprint, and that's why I'm doing this, so that you don't have the same. But I tried multiple ones. So first I went for the Dead Bride. And so if you see here, so let me just help you avoid these mistakes. So I went into the Forgottens and I farmed it on hard at 250%. And I went until I had 5 patterns, which I think was actually 6, right? Because I was getting 2 at a time. And then went and fought the Dead Bride solo with Haley, which went fine, but I just had a bunch of bad luck. So that was disappointing, of course. So then I was like, okay, well, let's try this other one. Here, you can fight the Swamp Walker with 46 AB, and you're gonna be able to do that on easy, and that's gonna give you a 15% chance at the ultimate Freyna code. But wait, that's a trap. I know it looks great on the surface, but it's not. Now, what they're saying to do is go to Hoggios here. And the difference is that there's a chance, a 26 to 44% chance that you're gonna get that pattern. And then another 30% chance to get that one. I played it all the way to the end. Either way, I came out with only 2 patterns out of all of that. And then I went and fought the boss at a 50% chance for each and didn't get it. So I was just like, oh, I'm not gonna go back in there and do that again, because these take some time. So it wasn't a bad experience, but I was trying to push through this and I just didn't like the odds of that pattern. So, I mean, if you're playing this a lot anyways, then okay, there you go. I think the best bet is the Void Reactor. It's easy. You don't need a Sharon. In and out. Hopefully that gives you everything you need to get out there and be successful. Let me know what you think of this farming experience. Is it too hard? Is it too easy? Or is it just right? Thank you for hanging out with me. My name is Tuxedo Bandido. That's Tito Bandido.
One and only.
And this was another episode of The First Descendant. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The First Descendant. And if you like videos like this, check out the one I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy or download anything for The First Descendant, be sure to use Tux's creator code to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Follow me.